Howdy. Oh, you all know the drill, don't you? Offline stream segment, no chat right here. I know, I miss them too. I flipped a coin when I woke up this morning, and God told me not to stream today. Kind of a dick move on his part because I said I would. But it's just you can blame him, not me. I actually wanted to talk really quickly about a time. Wait, is it time or times? Wait, I'm gonna lose my mind. Yeah, time. My brain just for a second wanted me because like you call newspapers the Times. Okay. These offline segments are usually okay because I don't get distracted. Let's focus. Okay, Elon Musk, right? I hate him. So do a lot of people, but a lot of people unhate him, like him. Um, there are a million YouTube channels dedicated to talking about the ways in which his various engineering projects, both real and imagined, are terrible ideas, and I can't do a better job than them. My favorite of them is, of course, Adam Something, who has like a dozen videos on the various Elon Musk, dream projects that are soiling the pants of tech nerds everywhere while managing to get absolutely nothing done. I can't steal that thunder, I can't do that better. But there is something specific that happened recently. This Time article that I'm God, that sounds so weird. Time article? Just Time, like Time magazine. Time article. Why can't I get over that? God, okay. Look, you've probably seen this meme before, right? California and China. I should build a high-speed rail system. But the slow-witted and unfortunate Chinese can't compete with us and our Elon Musk, who decides, no, cancel it, and we'll make a hyperloop instead. And then China builds thousands and thousands of miles of high-speed rail while California gets nothing. And this meme is, of course, completely correct. This is one of the few things that I actually will praise China on. It may be, a nightmarishly, overly surveilled, authoritarian, state capitalist nightmare country, but they do wrangle state projects in line. They have been known to spend money on things that actually exist, which is a great thing to spend money on. Look, the reason I care so much about this is because Elon Musk has enjoyed a really rosy reputation with mainstream media for a while. He gets jerked off on television anytime he says he's going to invent some new wacky thing. I mean, he has a scandal, sure, but the media has. I feel like the attitude is turning on him a little bit. I mean, he's obviously gone like he's been Republican recently. There's the whole sex scandal thing. Um, there was the him announcing that any attacks against him were like being done as a kind of political partisanship, like immediately before like all that stuff came out about him. The tides are turning a bit, but what I really want, I don't just want people to hate Elon Musk. That's not enough. I want people to hate what Elon Musk represents, this kind of fake futurism. So this article talks about the problems with Musk. I like the title here. Elon Musk is convinced he's the future. We need to look beyond him. I like that a lot. I like that title. Um, but there's a section down here that refers to something that I wasn't aware of, and I kind of want to point to it because maybe there are people in my audience who were aware of this. I wasn't. I'm a little embarrassed in that, but maybe we can all learn something today. You can read through the whole article if you want. A lot of the stuff in this article is stuff that I've gone over on stream before. It is really remarkable how bad Elon Musk is, like on every level, like from the dishonesty to the false claims to the scandals to the like workplace conditions that he forces people to suffer under to his, like there's so much to go through. Um I swear the only times I even hear about Tesla these days is when people on social media are making fun of their god-awful auto-driving capabilities, which Musk, of course, overpromised on, saying that by now we'd have like fully autonomous vehicles. Obviously, we don't. Um, but Musk has a history of floating false solutions to the drawbacks of our over-reliance on cars that stifle efforts to give people other options. Love seeing stuff like this in a Time article. The Boring Company was supposed to solve traffic, not be the Las Vegas amusement ride it is now. As I've written in my book, Musk admitted to his biographer Ashley Vance that Hyperloop was all about trying to get legislators to cancel plans for high-speed rail in California, even though he had no plans to build it. Several years ago, Musk said that public transit was, quote, a pain in the ass, end quote, where you were surrounded by strangers, including possible serial killers, to justify his opposition. And then over here, we have a section from that book right down here. At the time, it seemed that Musk had dished out the Hyperloop proposal just to make the public and legislators rethink the high-speed train. He didn't actually intend to build the thing. It was more that he wanted to show people that more creative ideas were out there for things that might actually solve problems and push the state forward. With any luck, the high-speed rail would be canceled, Musk said, as much to me said as much to me during a series of emails and phone calls leading up to the announcement. Quote, down the road, I might fund or advise on a Hyperloop project, but right now I can't take my eye off the ball at either SpaceX or Tesla, end quote, he wrote. Yeah, right there. There was no intention of actually building that project. It was just a way of convincing state legislators to not put funding towards the high-speed rail. And it is terrifying to think that an enormously powerful political body like California, one of the largest economies in the world on its own as a state, can have its internal civic policy, its infrastructure, completely rerouted by the empty, claims of a egomaniac billionaire. It's genuinely insane. It's psychotic to imagine just that power, He didn't even have to spend money for this. We talk about like the power the wealthy have over our country through stuff like lobbying or, business deals with the government, or like the kind of mutual reliance because the government knows that if corporations leave an area, it can be devastating to the economy, so they have to make concessions. This doesn't even require that level of investment. All Elon Musk had to do was lie about a future project, and bam, high-speed rail in California, congratulations, you get nothing for more than a decade. Just nope, whoop, sorry. We were going to spend, tens, hundreds of billions on a modern rail network, but rich man say he might maybe do project later sometime. Truly horrifying. And I think, that alongside the comments that Musk has made, where he clearly like hates the concept of public transportation, which is really obvious if you see any of the shit that he's proposed, should serve as a reminder, like the purpose that all of this serves in the mind of people like Musk, They hate you is the thing. The reason the wealthy don't like trains is because A, minimal upkeep and broad government oversight means that you can't bilk people the way that you can with broader car transportation. Car infrastructure and everything associated with it is just a gigantic money-making machine for everyone who gets to live on a yacht. From the from the subsidized transportation network to the actual cost of car and like all the maintenance that goes into it, the reliance on gas, which continues to pump money into the fossil fuel industry. Cars cost, I think, the average American family something like $7,000 to $9,000 a year to own. That's maintenance and gas costs, which is insane. Like, that is a huge amount of money when you think about the median income in this country being what, like 60,000 to a household, or is it for I forget the exact number, something in that ballpark. I mean, you're talking potentially like 10 to 15, up to possibly 20% of an income being used on a car. Like, people don't understand. And this is what they don't want you to understand. Transportation is a purely utilitarian service. As much as they try to dress it up with your fancy cars and your cup holders and shit, and don't get me wrong, I like fancy cars and cup holders and everything. As a social project, transportation is just about getting people to where they need to go. It is a blatantly utilitarian. It's like a fundamental. I mean, Rome built the roads, right? Rome wasn't building fucking, cobblestone hyperloops out here. If you need people to be somewhere, and we do, you have to make sure it's possible for them to get there. Not only is it very socially destructive to have people who need to, drive through massive commutes, 2 hours that way, 2 hours this way, have to drive 40 minutes to get to the grocery store. Not only is car dependency destructive on an individual level, on a civic level, it's horrible for our economy because the only thing you're doing when you're sitting in traffic is contributing to wasted man hours. That sounds like kind of I don't know, a demeaning way to think of like an individual, but think of it in like a broader social capacity, right? We have finite lifespans and we have finite amounts of time in our day. The more time we spend on in traffic or trapped in some kind of inefficient transport service, the more labor gets spent on maintaining car infrastructure when it could be more efficiently spent maintaining, say, train infrastructure. This is a social expenditure that in the long run adds up to trillions, and not just in like direct monetary GDP make line go up, senses, but that affects all of us in our day to day. We all value that time. There are countries in this world with better transportation systems than we enjoy. In fact, there are a lot of them. And the stories that you hear from Europeans visiting America about, like, the state of our cities, the inability to walk around them, the reliance on car infrastructure, the fact that there's no public transportation, like, this isn't they are not envious of our luxurious cars. I will say that much. That's always how it was sold, right? Oh God, I'm rambling again. Oh no. This stuff is always too broad. I'm not educated enough in this stuff to have like, what's the old quote? If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. I think in this case it would be, if I knew more things, I would have done a shorter rant. Let me see if I can draw a point out of this. There are so many things that I want to say. I feel like I've said a lot of it before. Elon Musk isn't just an egomaniac with minimal engineering knowledge who constantly foists on his engineering teams an unattainable dream of fake, technofuturism. He is that, but that's not all that he is. He is a representative of an ideology. And this ideology is one of extreme classism in the infrastructural sense. Elon Musk represents the Silicon Valley attitude towards problem solving, which is express lanes and disruptive innovation, even if it doesn't make anybody's life better. A project is worthwhile if it turns heads, if it draws headlines, if it brings everyone to your big reveal parties or whatever. If everyone wants to watch you cut the ribbon and show off your RBG GB gamer tunnel lights. But it's not about serving the people. Infrastructure is about serving the people. I believe infrastructure should be made beautiful, and God, don't get me started on how beautiful train stations can be. I mean, in a lot of cities, they're like some of the most beautiful places just because those buildings are old, and we made buildings prettier back in those days. I am a big advocate of the idea that infrastructure should be beautiful and serve the common interest. But public transport is necessarily a proletarian investment. The ultra wealthy do not need the government's dollar to get to where they need to go. They can get there however they want. If you have enough money, there is effectively no limit to the options available to you. You can hire drivers. You can take a helicopter. I don't know. You have the Kardashians taking private jets for 20-minute drives across LA. It's not about them. It's about the common people, right? I mean, it's about everyone, And our American attitude towards the public transportation, that's like a dirty term for us. Like, oh, it's for common people. That's what we think of when we think of trains, reflected in Musk's attitude towards them, that they're dirty and you might see a serial killer. What the fuck? As if Elon Musk himself would not be by far the most likely candidate to be a serial killer if you were, taking any transportation he built alongside him. The idea is that public transportation is like this dirty thing, like gross, homeless people and drug addicts and gum under every seat and dirt and shit and whatever. And, to be fair, given how underfunded public transportation is in many parts of the United States, that's not entirely an unreasonable, like, gut assessment for a person to make of a lot of our services. Okay, I grew up in LA. I took LA Metro lines. I'm aware. They're not even as bad as New York Metro lines. So, I mean, the line can go down from there. But that was a choice that we made. American public transport wasn't always like that. The world's public transport is not necessarily like that. We chose to underfund these services, and we pushed people onto them, namely the most desperate and poor, the people who were least likely to be able to keep up with the expenses of car culture. Essentially, we pulled everyone into a system that vastly privileged car infrastructure and car ownership, and only the few desperate who were completely incapable of entering that world, especially in like inner city slums or areas where like the idea of affording a car for some people is just a complete fantasy. Like they don't even have any credit to speak of. So those people use public transport, and it sucks. And obviously, when you have no money going into a service and only the most desperate people are using that service, you're going to cultivate and reinforce a negative attitude towards that service. Musk is not just this descriptively. Musk is this prescriptively. Elon Musk isn't just saying, oh, well, things are bad as they are. I believe in his mind, public transportation as a concept, the idea of serving the public, the idea of an all access system is ideologically bad. He hates you if you are not capable of keeping up with his disruptive innovation, which is why all of his ideas for public transport innovation are like, you know, at best, they're little Disneyland rides. And at worst, they're essentially just fast pass lanes that cost 80 times as much to set up as a regular fast pass lane that you can only access if you already have the wealth or the materials to take advantage of them. They don't serve the public interest. He will never want to serve the public interest. Why do you think he wants to go to Mars? Every time he talks about going to Mars, like everything he talks about, his little space rocket, send rich people across the world in 2 hours, going to Mars, the Hyperloop, Teslas, all of it. It's never about you. It's never about people. It's always about the elite few. It's the ideology of a capitalist prepper. It's the ideology of somebody who thinks that things are falling apart and he just wants to be part of the privileged class that will get to survive the end times. It's the ideology of the world is crumbling to dust. Let me use let my last step on this world be an effort to kick the orphan child who's clinging to the airship, off so that I can escape unsullied by their presence. It's escapism for the wealthiest man in the world, and he's dragging literally tens of millions of people down with him, you know? Like it's a ladder that he's trying to climb, and every step up he takes requires him to worsen the lives of an uncountable number of people. It's disgusting. It's sickening. It genuinely is. I hate him so much, you know? In a way, I hate him more than I hate a lot of the fascists, in government, the GOP type, Trump, whatever, all these fucking people, DeSantis, because I feel like in a way, there's a kind of raw purity in their belief, their complete rejection of empiricism, their openly genocidal, ideology. It's sort of the dumb, refined energy that you'd get from just like a fucking anime villain or some shit, like just evil for evil's sake. There's something to that, and there's nothing redeemable about it, so it's easy enough to regard and deal with and categorize. But Elon Musk is really, really, really ruining something that I do like, which is a vision of a better system. Like there are people who might otherwise have an interest in, an understanding of, or at least a respect for, like the project of using like talent and wealth to create new solutions to existing social problems. And then they go ahead and they fall into the fucking Musk pit, It's taking a legitimate, honorable drive and corrupting it with this insane anti-pragmatic classism that's just ruined so many people. Yeah, I'd say 20 minutes of rambling about that. I mean, I could just do this on stream and ramble for like 5 hours, but I really don't like him, man. I don't like him. It's not good. He's bad. I don't like him at all.